Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 5th Moving Forward Forum. And welcome to our new audience members as well. The Moving Forward Forum is New Pioneers' way of helping our community to get into conversation about some of the issues that will enable us to become a sustainable rural community. My name is Sister Claire McGowan. I'm Director of New Pioneers for a Sustainable Future. And our topic tonight is the role of locally grown food in helping to build a sustainable rural community. And we have 3 wonderful panelists with us tonight. On my right is Dr. Leah Bayens, who is Director of the Wendell Berry Initiative at St. Catherine College here in Washington County. And to her right is Eileen O'Donoghue, who is owner of Kentucky Lamb and president of the board of New Pioneers for a Sustainable Future. And beside Eileen is Steve Smith, who is the owner and farmer of Granddad's Garden and our newest addition to the Springfield Farmers Market. And Steve has also been a member of the board of New Pioneers. So we have a wonderful group of panelists, and the structure that we use for these forums is each of the panelists will talk for up to 10 minutes about their views on the role of locally grown food in building a sustainable rural community. And then there'll be 15 minutes for them to converse with each other. And then we will invite all of you to join into the conversation. And sometimes that's the most fun part of the forum because everybody gets into the act. So we encourage you to consider actively participating as audience members. So without further ado, Eileen has agreed to begin, and she's going to share her views.
I wrote a lot of detailed notes because I'm easily wandering around, but I wanted to try to focus. So if I tend to read more than usual, it's just so that I don't wander around and I will focus more. So my name is Eileen O'Donoghue, and I grow lamb. I've got almost 50 acres in the northeast part of Washington County that's had sheep and goats on it for at least the last 10 years. And since May of 2009, I've been the grower there. My husband and I moved here from California in May of '09, and we started raising sheep immediately. Knowing nothing about it, we've been learning as we've been going. My goal was to raise a product that I would want to eat and I would also want to serve in my home. I also wanted it to fit into the environment naturally. Believe me, if you've seen my farm, the only thing that fits into the environment naturally are the sheep, and they do a great job out there. Nothing else would work. I also wanted something that would be healthy and could be produced naturally. So I use no antibiotics, steroids, or hormones to enhance growth or as a preventative nature, but I do use antibiotics if needed to be. Though they're on pasture, I do supplement them with grain. So I get my grain from a family-run business that's 14 miles from my farm. They mix a special mix just for me. It's kind of a recipe that my partner came up with. If I need it tweaked just a bit, then I give them a call, and they do it, and I get it delivered, mixed, delivered, and stacked in my barn within a couple of hours of my request. That's a local business doing business with a local. A couple of months ago, my partner got real sick, and we needed the feed that they delivered from his place moved to my place. And I called him up, and they went to his farm, loaded it up, and brought it to my farm. And I think that that's something about local people working with local people. I see that definitely as a part of a sustainable community. There were many times during this time that the local community came through for me, and I think that helping each other out in this way is what farmers do for each other. Based on a survey done in 2008, 50% of the respondents defined local foods as food that came from within 100 miles of their home. 37% said that local was within the state, and then 4% said within the region. And then other people said within the country, and kind of went on and on. But the important things, I think, were the 100 miles within, was local within their house. My personal goal is to stay within 100 miles of my farm. And for me and my business, what that is that 10% of my business comes from Washington County, from individuals. 15% is from a CSA in Louisville, and the rest of it is from restaurants and individuals in Lexington. So though I would like to change the balance a little bit, I go to where the business is, and those are the people who are buying my lamb. I think my biggest challenge in trying to provide locally grown food has been to find a local, really local market for my lamb. My experience has been, and this is in conversations with people and at the farmer's market, is that people in Washington County are not eager to eat lamb. It seems that those who have had this type of meat, they want mutton, and if they want mutton, that's what they want. They don't want lamb, and they think that all lamb tastes like mutton. So if they don't want to try lamb, either they only want mutton or they don't want to try lamb. So, so anyway, that's probably why I'm not selling too much in Washington County. But I have sold, and actually to several people right here in the here tonight have bought some lamb. Another challenge for me, as I'm sure it is to others, is to understand that people are more concerned about pricing than anything else. And I heard that a lot at the farmer's market. When you can get a similar product that I'm providing at Walmart or Kroger for less, that's where they will choose to shop. And I'm not saying it's the same product, because it's not, but it's something that they identify as similar. So understanding, I think, about quality of the product, the source of the product, and I think most important is serving size. That's the key to making my product and others more attractive. And just to expound a little bit on serving sizes, I think that people think big, that the more you get, the better it is. But when actuality, when a serving size is really this, whatever a serving size is, then the product is not so expensive. It's when you look at, you think that you have to have a lot, or anyway, I think that's distorting also on pricing. The times that I've spent at the Springfield Farmers Market reinforces to me the diverse and talented group of people we have locally producing foods for us to eat. The camaraderie between the vendors and the regular shoppers reminds me of why we're here, and that's really just to be with each other, and that helps build community. One of the things that I enjoy is eating some of my neighbor's beef, and when we're eating some of Amy's beef that's in my freezer, I think about Amy having dinner with us. So that makes it very personal to me, and I like that. Or Talina's bread. Some of Talina's bread, I'm like, oh, what time did she have to wake up to make that for me? And I'm glad she did. So, I believe that when we support local vendors, including food producers, we are building community, and community keeps us focused on what is really important, and I believe that to be each other. That's all I have to say about that for now.
Thank you, Eileen. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Steve?
Who's the timekeeper? Who's keeping it? The clock. Maybe I have a little different perspective on local food and living here. So I've been here all my life. My roots are real deep in this county. My grandfather was a grocer from the Berg many years, and we used to grew up and lived out where Maplethorpe Manor is right now, which was Pine View Farm Dinner House in those days. A lot of you here probably remember my mother. She was an amazing cook, and all the weddings and the parties and we had out there, boss. You know all about those. So. And at the time of my mother's death, she was a manager of the Talbot Tavern restaurant in Bardstown. So I've been around food all my life and really enjoy it. But I started, I've always had a large garden, and decided last year to expand that quite a bit and participate in the local farmers market. And that was an experience. I really didn't know what to expect from it, but I was very satisfied with the results from it. I had a lot of, I see all of you folks out here, a lot of you folks were great customers, and I think that at the farmers market we did provide a very good product. I think as a whole, all the vendors there, we had a great selection of product, but the challenge we face, we need more customers. I know what I sold this year. I thought I did fairly well, but still that wasn't enough to get real excited about, but it was good. And I think there's so many people today, these young families in particular, they're such a hurry. It's got to be quick or easy, or they don't have time for it. It's such a shame. You know, you can drive up down the streets and see every drive-through at the restaurants, packed out to the streets, you know, toss a bag in the seat to the kids, there's dinner. It's such a shame. And it's a long educational process to I don't know if we can teach these people how they need to eat, all about nutrition, to value that to their families. But I know we do offer a good product. I know it's there. And I sit there many Saturdays, and it's so frustrating to sit here and watch car after car after car pass by. Where do they buy their food from? I know they're buying what we have to offer. And I don't think, you know, I'll put together, Sister Claire, I've done it for you, those 3 meals I put together and show the real value of what we sell compared to what that would cost in a restaurant someplace else. And we put together some wonderful meals. They were very inexpensive, extremely nutritious, all locally grown food here. And it's, you know, it's a great product. It's a great value. We have some of the most fertile soils in this region of Kentucky. The farmland is beautiful. I've seen a lot of changes over the last 30, 40 years, but I was in Bardstown Saturday afternoon at a grandson's basketball game, and just left town, drove out to Bloomfield Road, and houses, houses, houses. You can see a speck of farmland here, a speck of farmland there, but you can leave this town and head out to Lebanon Highway, Bardstown Highway, 555, Danville Highway, beautiful farmland in every direction. Beautiful. And we've done a wonderful job preserving that for us, our children, our grandchildren, and I hope that, you know, there's going to be a lot of pressure coming this direction. When I grew up in Bardstown, I went to Bardstown's 5th through high school, it looked the same way over there. So that pressure's coming this way. But we've held it off somehow, some way. But this is a wonderful community of great people, and I have a lot of my friends say, "Why do you want to live in Springfield?" Well, there was a benefit auction at the Berg down here Saturday night for a young 6-year-old boy that had cancer. There were hundreds and hundreds of people there, and they raised tens and tens of thousands of dollars. I don't need to explain to anybody why I live in this community. And Laura, you've been through that years ago. You know what I'm talking about. So, but anyway, back on focus to local food. I'm just glad to be here. Glad Sister Claire invited me to be a part of this. And we'll talk more about it later. But that's Granddad's Garden. That was my grandkids came with that name. And I'm going to grow even more next year. So look forward to that. And we'll talk more later. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Steve Smith. And Dr. Leah Baynes, we'd like to hear from you.
Okay. Much like Eileen, I have notes because I too could go on forever, and I like to have some focus. So, and I think you all will appreciate that as well. And many of you all will have heard some portion or maybe all of the spiel, but I will apologize for that and hopefully add a little bit of new information. As Sister Claire mentioned, I am the director of the berry farming program at St. Catherine College. This is a new initiative. I just came on board August 1st, and I feel like I've lived about 3 lives in that since that time. And the reason is because the community has just, and when I say community, I mean that as kind of an all-encompassing thing. The campus community, the Mother House community, the community of Springfield and Washington County and in this region has just been so excited and has so warmly welcomed me into homes and onto farms and into businesses and into classrooms and into meetings and meetings and more meetings. But that's all been wonderful because I've been able to accomplish in a short time here at St. Catherine what probably would have taken me 3 years to accomplish at the former institution where I was working, which is UK. So I would like to tell you all a little bit about the program and what we've been developing in terms of community partnerships and campus collaborations. And so for those of you who don't know anything about what's happened on the campus with this program, I'll give you a little bit of background. The program is based on the life work of Wendell Berry. He is a farmer, writer, activist who has made a profound impact in the sustainable farming community, both nationally as well as internationally. He, uses fiction and poetry and essays, all variety of genres, to really encourage readers as well as audience members and countless community forums just like this and lectures to really support small local farms, to support rural communities. This is not, of course, to the detriment of urban areas. In fact, he sees this stabilizing rural communities as one of the key factors in stabilizing urban areas as well. But really encouraging people to think of land use and cultivation practices as something that should be ruled by nature's measure. How does nature view an economy, for instance? I mean, thinking about economy in quite different ways from what we're used to. And the counsel that he provided 35 years ago in his germinal work, The Unsettling of America, is just as prescient now as it was then. And in fact, for better or worse, the predictions that he made about the destabilization of rural communities on many levels. I am a positive person. I think there are lots of wonderful things happening in rural communities. I don't mean to kind of naysay, but there's a real need for us to think about how it is that, for instance, in Washington County, how and why we've been able to maintain farms and rural, those kinds of rural sites to the degree that other communities haven't, and we have to think about that because it's really essential, because it is coming down the road, and it has. I mean, there are things that have already changed in Washington County from the time that I moved into this area back in 1993. I'm from Louisville originally. I moved to Marion. I was I guess I was the kind of the opposite child. I was very contrary. That it goes without saying, maybe. But when I graduated from high school, the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to get away from home, but where I wanted to come was to the country. My family is from Hart County originally, and I grew up in Louisville, but I always knew that I wanted to live in a small town and rural community. And I first moved to Marion County and lived there for about 5 years, and we would always come to Washington County. We'd go to Link's Restaurant, we'd go to the seafood buffet, and the Tobacco and Sorghum Festival. And so there have been a lot of changes in this community in that short time, but when I came back to Washington County after the Berry families kind of scouted out St. Catherine College as a partner for establishing an educational program in ecological-based agriculture, I was really, really impressed with the number of the number and degree and the amount of ingenuity that's really happening in this location. I didn't doubt Wendell Berry's guidance and his decision making, and he was right again. He chose the right place. So essentially, the way that our program has developed is that it is a collaboration with the Berry Center, which is in Newcastle, Kentucky. It's headed up by the executive director is Mary Berry, which is Wendell's daughter. And she forged a partnership, actually the family forged a partnership with St. Catherine for establishing a program that would essentially create and design a major in homecoming. That's the way that Wes Jackson, who is a leading sustainable agriculture researcher, the way that he conceived of it, so that we have students who are from this community who maybe they come to St. Catherine, maybe they hopefully they come to St. Catherine, and then they see that farming is a viable option. If you look at the statistics on, actually in Washington County, the average age of a farmer is 55, and actually when you really start breaking it down, there are very few young people in farming right now, and we have to change that. And not only do we have to change that, but we can change that, because the students who I'm meeting as I'm out and recruiting and talking to people, there's a lot of enthusiasm for students, for farmers, farming. They just have to see that there's an opportunity, and that's one of the things that we're doing is, you know, trying to create a program that shows them how, you know, how to work within a system that really, I'm not telling you all anything you don't know. It's a system that's really not set up for the small farmer. It's a system that, you know, really works by hook and crook in order to kind of circumvent these big public policies, these big economic structures that are in direct contradistinction to small farm economies. And the thing that I find the most heartening is to see how many people there are in this community who are doing just that. And being able to put our students in conversation with those people, and more than conversation, putting them onto their farms and letting them work alongside them, building the kind of the relationship necessary for a mutual production of knowledge. That's what's absolutely essential, I think, for the development of education, agricultural education, and to the role of the college within the community. And I don't just mean St. Catherine. I mean St. Catherine specifically, because that's where we're starting, but we really need a model for education in this country that thinks about community engagement, engaged citizenship, these one-on-one interactions between, I mean, really, I would love to think of education as this kind of like these seamless, permeable boundaries between institutions of learning and the community outside. I'm using those words. It's hard to get away from those words, but to think of that kind of insider-outsider, I want to break down some of those boundaries. And I think that our program is poised to do some of that work. Just to give you a few of the facts about where we are, I have gotten my curriculum through 2 major committees, I'm happy to report, and it's going to faculty government soon. And we are really poised to be able to launch this program in fall of 2013. There will be a number of guided concentrations that students will be able to take, and this is the real kind of revolutionary thing about our program, is that there is no other sustainable agriculture program in the United States that's quite like this. There are lots of sustainable ag programs, particularly in small liberal arts institutions, that are really you know, wedded to a kind of interdisciplinarity, but I'm really hesitant because I'm beholden to these programs for having helped me to shape the program that we have at St. Catherine, so I don't mean to be overly critical, but the degree to which most programs integrate interdisciplinarity is almost always through the social sciences alone. And what we think about, if you know anything about Wendell Berry and his work, one of the things that he really emphasizes is that that agriculture is culture. I mean, the word is culture is in the term, and it is absolutely essential that we not overlook cultural elements as they fit into the idea of cultivation. One of the most exciting things that I have seen in my development of this program, as well as my interactions with people, is to see the way that the arts and humanities have come into play in so many people's lives in their cultivation work. And it's something that I'm beginning to see is I knew it in my heart of hearts, but to be able to talk to people who are very concerned about economics and about, rightfully so, concerned about economics and health and these kinds of like the business end of agriculture, the science end of agriculture, to talk to people about that and to be able to convince them that arts and culture really are integral to the establishment of agriculture and the stabilization of agricultural communities. I have that now. I mean, I knew it, but now I think I can talk to people more readily about it. So the program is a combination of agroecology, plant and soil stewardship, community leadership, and environmental arts and humanities. And so I'll be happy to talk more about that program and the ways that we're integrating experiential learning into that curriculum, and ad nauseum about many more subjects as you will allow me. So thank you.